Hi y'all, and welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things. This is part 2 of my February 2022 Sewers Club series. Part 3? I don't know. Anyway, part 1 was the unboxing of this beat up Sewers Club box. This is part 2. Discussing the project and assembling it. And then part 3 or part 2 or whatever, there's another part to this month's Sewers Club. It aired last week and it was a project revisit from February 2021. So I don't know how I'm going to title these as parts, but this is part of the Sewers Club sewing series that I do on this channel, if that makes any sense. So, we're going to do this video in 4 parts as well. Part 1 is discussing the contents of the box. Part 2 is assembling the project. Part 3 are pros, cons, and user error. And then part 4 are final thoughts and my sign off. So yeah, quickly, if you don't know what Sewers Club is, it is a monthly subscription box where for around $30 a month, $35 a month, something like that. I cannot remember. The prices are up on the screen for you. You get an entire project and a Notion sometimes. So I get the added Notion because I'm fairly new to sewing and I don't have a lot of things. Anyways, let's talk about what came in the box. So as I work on the project, I keep everything together in the box so that I can discuss it. So this month's box was this Snap and Go fabric clutch. I got the green version. I'm gonna ask, my mother-in-law got this too, and she has a different color. So I'm gonna ask her to send me a picture of what she has, and I'll insert that here for you. But anyway, so you had this. That's the Notion add-on. This is the card that came with it. And then this is the bonus items and the add-on Notion. I cannot show you the bonus item anymore because I have it in another project that I'll be discussing in a couple of weeks. But I got the green butterflies, or the blue butterflies. Yeah, and I actually remember to use the handmade tag. The add-on Notion was this guy here, an add a quarter plus. It's like a ruler that you can add like a 1/4 inch for your seam allowance with, for like quilting templates and things like that. I haven't messed around with it, but yeah, it's kind of an interesting idea. So I have to look more into it before I can give my thoughts, but it's kind of neat to have it. And then we have like the fabric. So we had like a little tiny square of this stripy fabric. We had some fusible fleece left over. And we just kind of have pieces of the butterfly fabric. We would have had more, but I made a mistake when I was cutting. And so I have these 2 rectangular pieces that were a mistake. And then these like few little pieces. And then we also have some left over interfacing as well. So yeah. Okay, so that's what came in the box. it was a kind of a neat project. It's like a little kind of wallet organizer kind of thing. We're going to leave these, I think, to stare at. All right, so part 2 is putting this together, the assembly. Normally I walk through all of the steps with pictures, but there were 38 steps, and I'm not into discussing every single step. So what I will say is that it's kind of cool that they show you how to lay the fabric out now. So you know how where you're cutting it, how you're cutting it, things like that. I didn't exactly follow it to a T, so I actually have a little extra fabric B than I would have if I'd followed it. And I have some extra interfacing as well, and some extra fusible fleece. Just because of the way that I cut it down, which is kind of cool. The instructions are pretty good. They're usually pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot of them, and I don't want to go over it all today. I really like how they had me do the wristlet attachment, like the little lanyard. And yeah, so they also, I just wanted to mention this now too while we're here. They have this curved template that I was going to trace, but it says that it's based on a 2-inch circle. So I kind of went searching for a 2-inch circle so I didn't have to like trace out the template. And I have this. This is one of the tags from one of my Cat Lady cat toys, right? The catnip candlestick. I think this was in November or December's box, and it fits perfectly. It's a 2-inch circle. So I used this to round out my corners. That's all I'm going to talk about for the assembly, just because, like I said, it's 38 steps and it'll take me a long time to go through, and I may not be as clear and succinct as I'd like to be on them. If you have any specific questions about the assembly, I'll leave them below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. But I'm not going to go over it. While I'm talking about the assembly, I'll just ask you, people who watch these videos, does my discussion of putting it together help you, or do you not care? Should I start skipping it? Let me know in the comments whether or not you enjoy how I ramble on about that, or if you think I could just cut it out. My next Sewers Club project going up in March is already finished, and that would be really easy and quick to talk about for the assembly. So let me know what you think. I should say my bonus Sewers Club project next month, right? I don't have the box. I haven't unboxed it or anything, so yeah, I'm babbling. All right, part 3. Look how fast I'm going. Part 3. Oh, yeah, so you probably want to see the project. So here it is. That's probably better. It's a wallet. I am hoping these purple things will fade. I used a purple like fabric pen. I ironed them and they haven't come out. So I'm going to try hand washing it to see if that helps. But yeah, so here's the flap. Here's the interior. I stuck some money in, some Canadian 5s that I had floating around into the 2 different pockets to kind of see how that would fit. I don't actually have any American money on me. Shocking. But the 5s seem to tuck in really well. And what's crazy is Canadian money is actually a little bit larger than American money. So I'd have even more room if I had American in here. This pocket's really big. It's probably better for other things besides cash. See, like the purple's still on here too, and this has been a while. Then you have 2 card pockets. Again, I just stuck some cards that I had in so that you could see how they are. They're quite deep. So we have 2 card pockets, like a money pocket or something, like a nice thick pocket in the back. We have a zipper here, and then we have another zipper out here, which could probably hold like a decent amount of stuff as well. So it's quite nice. Here's the wristlet part, and here's the handmade tag. So I remembered to use it. It might not be as centered or as straight as I'd like it to be, but there you go. And it's nice and rounded on the bottom, right? These are rounded. And yeah, so there you have it. Okay, so now on to part 3, pros, cons, and user error. Pros. I like the pattern. I like the idea of this. I like how many steps, well, I don't like how many steps there are, but I like how, like, involved is not the right word. I like how easy the instructions were to follow for something that seems so complicated. And by that, I mean, like, I have a pocket here, right? And then I have another pocket here. And then I have a zippered pocket or a zippered pouch. And then I have another pocket. Then I have a flap and another zipper with 2 magnetic clasps that actually clasp where they're supposed to be, right? Along with like the wristlet or lanyard or whatever detail you want to call this. Right? That's a lot. That is like a complicated idea to talk about. And I like how compact it is, right? It's not that big, right? It is easy. It would be nice to be able to carry somewhere. And I really like it. Like, I really, really like that aspect of it. I like the construction of it. Not necessarily my interpretation of the construction, which we'll talk about at the user error part, but I do like it. Will I use it? I don't know, but I do like it, and I do hope that I can get these purple markings out. Also, I like the video tutorial. I always say that if you are uncertain or you're like me and you like to have things explained to you, always watch the video tutorial. I knew I was getting myself into a big project because the video was over 30 minutes long, and normally they're about at most 15. So yeah. Cons. There's a lot of steps, and I understand why there's a lot of steps, but there was a lot of steps. There was a lot of cutting. There was a lot of piecing, and then of course there was a lot of sewing. Like in this section here, right, like the bulk of the wallet, I had to attach this pocket to this pocket. I had to make this, right, the zipper pouch, the zippered pocket, attach those together. And then I had to attach like the back together, and then the zipper, and then this part. Like, it was a lot. Cutting took me about 2 hours, and sewing all together, I would say, took me another 6 or 7 hours altogether. I ended up doing it over 3 days. The first day I started at 2 and I finished at 8, I want to say, with an hour's break to go to Starbucks. And then I started dinner late that day. We eat late anyway, but I didn't start dinner until 8 o'clock that night. So that's about 5 hours the first day. The next day was about an hour. And then the day after that, it was about 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it was about 8 hours altogether to put this together. So it was a little bit more time intensive. And the third con, which is very much subjective, is that I do not like the color of the material, of the fabric. I like the idea of butterflies. I don't like the green. And I really, really, really do not like this this here. I don't mind the colors, but in my mind it's a bit like naturey, a bit swampy, icy, like camo colors, camouflage colors in it. It's not my thing. I showed it to my husband and he said, oh, it looks like a rainbow trout. I think he called it a rainbow trout, some sort of trout. And I was like, yep, that's it. It's too naturey for me, if that makes sense. Give me another word in the comments if you know what I'm trying to explain. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to use it because I don't know if I like it that much. But I do think I'm going to try to remake it sometime in the future in fabric that I do like more and see if I'll use it. But I'm on the fence about it right now. Really on the fence about it. So yeah, pros, cons, and now we're on to user error. There's actually not a lot. I was actually really proud of myself for how nicely this went together. Everything is like holding really well. This I was a bit worried about, but it seems to be quite secure. I really like how they walked you through on how to do this. And I actually did something a little different this time. I guess I should have talked about this before, but when I was sewing the D-ring and this swiveling hook thing, I took a quilting clip and I actually like clipped it like this to keep it from moving around, so that when I sewed it in a much straighter line than I have been able to do in the past. And that was because I wasn't concerned anymore. Well, here, I'll take it off. I wasn't concerned anymore about this ring moving around on me. So these are actually straighter than they usually are. And I'm very proud of myself for that. Same with this guy. This guy has more wiggle room, right? But I did the same thing. I clipped it like that to keep it from moving around, and then I sewed it. And I'm so happy with myself. I don't know if that's a trick or something that everybody knows and I just figured it out or what, but I'm very happy about it. Getting on to my biggest user error though, because there's a big one, and that is this back zipper could be straighter. Like it's puffing out a little bit. It's not sewn as straight as it can be at all. Like when I saw it, I should have fixed it, but I thought it was okay. And because it's not as straight as it should be, right? I have right here, I had to hand stitch, like tuck this zipper tab in and hand stitch it poorly. Well, it's tight. It just doesn't look very good. But I had to like push this back into this part, the zipper pocket part, and make sure that it was secure so it doesn't lift, right? Like this side, they're nice and secure, right? Nice and clean. This side, not so much. It's on this side as well as on the interior here. You can see it here. Like right along here, right? It's all hand stitched to keep it secure and not to have it pull apart. So I should have made my zipper tabs a little bit wider and being a little bit more patient with this back zipper specifically. Overall, I do not think it's gonna interfere with the performance of the zipper, right? Because the zipper opens and closes just fine. But I'm gonna have to just keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't rip out. If it does, it's mostly cosmetic, and I should be able to just kind of hand stitch it again. Plus, it's not like it's like this guy where it's holding a lot of weight, right? It's just kind of more decorative than anything else. So yeah, I think that's it for pros, cons, and user error. So now on to my final thoughts. I think this is the most complicated project Sewers Club has done since I've been getting Sewers Club's boxes. And I've been getting them for just over a year now. My first one was in January of 2021. It's complicated in a different way. Like my September, I think it's September, alternative cushion pattern was the most difficult project that I've had. Pretty straightforward, but the piecing of it was really difficult. This one was just complicated because of how many steps and how many pieces you had to do, or like you had to keep track of. They suggested labeling all of your cuts, so that like you cut like three, like I cut 3 pieces like this size of this pattern, this color way. I don't know. Anyway, I cut 3 pieces of this, and then I used a quilting clip with like a little piece of paper that said, right, fabric B. So I wrote B like 9 by 5 or whatever it was for this. And I did it for all of my cuts. And so somewhere in my house, I have like 12 different pieces of paper with a whole bunch of different numbers on them. And honestly, that was the only way that I could have kept all of the cuts straight. Because I don't like this pattern, I was going to do the butterflies, right, instead, but then I would be stuck with the butterflies only on like, right, not on the flap, and the flap I think is the thing you see the most. So, but yeah, like I said, that's a me problem. I'm sure some people would absolutely love the color story of this, because the colors work really well together. Like the colors are quite pretty together. I just don't like them, right? And that's a personal preference. So yeah, final thoughts. I like them as a project. I like it as a project. I like it for probably a future project, but I don't know if I like this specific colorway of this specific project. Would it stop me from wanting to continue with Sewers Club? No, nothing of Sewers Club has ever made me go, ooh, I don't know if I should keep doing this, right? There's always value in every project, especially as, like I said, I'm a new sewer or fairly new to sewing. So there's always skills and tricks that I pick up in every single box. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say about this. Hopefully cutting out that assembly section makes this video shorter. If not, we would have been looking at well over like half an hour, 40 minutes. And I can see I'm still already over 20 minutes talking about it. So I am going to go and continue working on next week's sewing project, and then the weeks after and the weeks after. I set my sewing machine up to do like 3 or 4 projects at a time, so then I could put it away, because right now I'm sewing in my dining room. So a week of inconvenience I think is better than just always having it up and sometimes working with it. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Do you get Sewers Club? Did you get this project? What colors did you get? Have you made this project yet? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear other people's opinions on this specific one, just because, like I said, I like the idea, I don't like the colors. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, if you want more sewing content. I don't know, just because YouTube tells me I should tell you to like it, maybe. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed and you've caught a couple of these videos. As of today, I'm sitting at 74 subscribers, which is exciting. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again, and I will talk to you again soon.